Since 1871, there have been over 23,000 professional baseball players. Out of that group, just 63, or 0.27%, have a first or last name that begins in Q. Out of that 0.27%, I'm building the best roster possible. Let's start with our catcher, Humberto Quintero. He spent 11 years in the majors and was a whiz behind the plate, but that was balanced out by being pretty awful when he was standing beside it. Our first baseman has to be Carlos Quintana. Carlos succeeded Bill Buckner, playing 5 years for the Red Sox in the late 80s and early 90s. He was an above-average bat until a car accident caused him to miss the entire 1992 season, and he wasn't the same when he came back. Manning second base is our leadoff hitter, Kilvio Veras. Placing third in Rookie of the Year voting in 1995, Kilvio led the league in steals and caught stealing for the Marlins in his first year. A switch hitter and owner of 5 20-plus stolen bag seasons. He's also spent time as a bunting and base running coach, which will help us embrace the small ball ethos of the Q team. Moving over to the hot corner, we have Rob Quinlan, arguably the greatest player in Minnesota Golden Gophers baseball history. Quinlan played 8 years with the Angels, where he spent time as a corner infielder and outfielder. His signature moment is hitting a home run in Game 2 of the 2005 ALDS, where the Angels would be swept. Our shortstop is a man named Joe Quinn. Joe was born in 1862 in Ipswich, Australia, and in 1884 he became the first Australian to play professional baseball in America. A second baseman by trade, he was known as a defensive wizard, so we're going to move him to short. He's in the Australian Baseball Hall of Fame, and besides that, his other claim to fame is that he was one of the player managers of the 1899 Cleveland Spiders, the worst team ever. He's a bit of an offensive liability, but we can't pass up on the defense. Out in left field, we have by far our best power hitter, Carlos Quentin. Owning the most home runs by a player with a Q name, Carlos hit 154 dingers over 9 years with the D-backs, White Sox, and Padres. His most successful season came in 2008, when he made the All-Star team and placed 5th in MVP voting. Roaming center field, we have Roman Quinn. This might be a name you guys remember because he just played as recently as 2022, and now we have StatCast data on him, unlike just about everyone else on this list. The data tells us that he is a below-average hitter, he has incredible arm strength and sprint speed, which is very valuable for our outfield, and we can't pass that up. Finally, out in right, we have Mark Quinn. Mark was an outfielder for the Royals from 1999 to 2002. Mark Quinn would win the Sporting News AL Rookie of the Year in 2000, but he would be out of baseball by 2003. He did own the Q home run mark before Quentin would take it. Alright, let's take a quick look at the bench. Our backup catcher is a man named Jamie Quirk, who played 18 seasons but only appeared in over 100 games once. Next is Joe Quest. He is credited with coining the term Charlie Horse. For that reason, he makes the team. The next two are outfield guys who I needed to flesh out the roster. Quentin Berry, who accumulated 305 at-bats over 5 years in the mid-2010s, is on the team, and Quinton McCracken, who managed to play 999 games in the majors but was a below-average hitter when he was there. The man at the end of the bench and our manager is Quincy Troop. Quincy is the definition of a utility man, as he played across 3 decades in at least 7 countries at every position, including pitcher. He is our manager and our just overall utility plug-in player. Here's a prospective batting order. Our team does not have a lot of power, so we're going to have to find a way to manufacture runs with our legs. Our starting position players and bench B-WAR adds up to 44.9, which is the career equivalent to 1 Giancarlo Stanton. Powering forward, we have 13 slots on our pitching staff. Of our 24 qualified Q pitchers, over half of them have a negative B-WAR, and only 9 have an above-average ERA+. This is going to be an issue. Anyway, let's begin with our rotation. Our ace is Jack Quinn. Jack owns a bunch of age-related major league records, as he debuted at 25 and played above-average ball until he was 50. He's still the oldest player in AL history to hit a home run, and was the oldest player to win a game until Jamie Moyer came along. Jack threw 243 complete games in his career, and we're going to need every single one of them. He was also a card-carrying member of the Michael Shannon Lookalike Club. Our next man up is the first active player on our roster, Jose Quintana. He's one of 7 active players with over 1,900 innings, and is currently with the Brewers for his age 36 season. He had an excellent 2022, but regressed a little bit going into 23 and 24. Third man in the rotation is another active player, lefty Cal Quantrill. Cal just finished an okay season in Denver, and in 2025 is going to be eating innings for Miami. He's a member of Team Canada, and his signature MLB moment so far is reminding Reese McGuire where he parked his truck. It was at this point where I realized the Q team would run into some issues. I could squeeze 100 starts out of Quinn, Quintana, and Quantrill, but beyond that it's pretty slim pickings. Our fourth starter is Tomas Quinones. He never actually played in the MLB, but he was a ball player. He won 2 Puerto Rican Winter League MVPs in the 40s, and in 1945 our manager Quincy Troop, who was playing in Puerto Rico at the time, invited Tomas to join his Negro League team in Cleveland, which would win the championship that year. Tomas declined, but would eventually have a short stint in the Negro Leagues, adding him to the Baseball Reference database. Our last man standing in the rotation is Mel Queen. Mel Queen played for the Reds and the Angels and had a really good 1967 season, but shoulder injuries derailed his career early. That's what we got. And now to the bullpen. We start with Art Quirk, who appeared in 14 games and pitched at 48.1 innings. He went to Dartmouth and is apparently a really good person, so he makes the list. Next we have Tom Quartles. Nicknamed Moneybags, Tom appeared in 34 games, and he's a part of the Gave Up a Home Run to My First Batter club. The next name might be a little familiar. Mel Queen. Mel Queen is the father of our starter Mel Queen. He has over 500 innings pitched, so he might make a few spot starts for us if we need him to. Next is another active player, Jose Quijada. He's a lefty, he's currently on the Angels, and in 2025 spring training he had a 13.5 ERA over 8 games. Kevin Quackenbush appeared in 204 games, mostly between 2014 and 2018, and he has a really nice beard. He makes the cut. Chad Qualls is our high leverage righty. Appearing in 14 seasons for 9 teams, he's one of our most tenured pitchers on the staff. He was also the first Q pitcher to give up a home run to a Q hitter when Carlos Quentin took him deep in 2006. Our setup man is Paul Quantrill. Between 2001 and 2004, nobody appeared in more games than Paul Quantrill. He's a one-time All-Star and a Canadian Hall of Famer. He could make some spot starts if we need him to, but he's destined to be a high-leverage setup guy. Our closer is none other than Dan Quisenberry. A right-handed submariner, Quiz was the most dominant closer of the early 80s. Between 80 and 85, Quiz won 5 Reliever of the Year awards, placed in top 3 in Cy Young thrice, including 2 runners-up, and was top 10 in MVP voting 4 times. As a closer, he was a staple of the 80s Royals and was known for his humor and poetry as much as his pitching. He seemed like a wonderful man, and I'm glad that he can be the capstone to the Q team. Overall, this team on paper is pretty bad. We have multiple below replacement level players on the roster, but you can only work with what you got. Our 26-man roster has a combined 199.3 B-WAR, which I'd guess is probably around 25th in the alphabet, somewhere around X and U. We have 4 guys with the surname Quinn, 4 guys named Joe if you count the 2 Jose's, and 2 father-son combos, one of which have the same name. I would like to end this video with an excerpt from a poem by Dan Quisenberry called A Career. It lasted so long. It went so fast. It seemed like yesterday. It seemed like never. Thank you, and have a good day.